Hello,
welcome
folks,
back.
and welcome to episode 21 of the Inside Sports Podcast.
I didn't know if you were going to start, so I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, no, episode 21 of the Inside Sports Podcast. I am your host, Cole Daly, editor-in-chief of the Daily Egyptian. I've got the grad assistant for the Daily Egyptian, Joey Bernard, to my left, and then just some guy, Jay Cruz, off the side of the street. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Yes, the DE is capitalized. I feel like I've been forgetting to do that this year, and honestly...
No, I don't think you have.
Maybe every now and again.
I forgot to do it the week you were gone too. So,
See?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me forgetting to, lock in, as you say.
Right.
Anyways, let's talk about a very, very eventful week of SIU men's basketball. Joey, behind the back pass to you. Tell me about well, first of all, before you go, I want to clarify for our viewers. We got a win at Evansville, right? Which you got to feel good about. Evansville, I wouldn't say they're
frisky.
They're frisky. That's a good way of putting it. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if we got any Purple Aces fans out there. Last couple of years, just write it down as a W in the win column.
Yeah.
Evansville this year, not really like that. So, but we did end up beating them by 12. I know I just went against everything I just said. But then we had a rough loss to Bradley. And Joey, I want you to tell me about what you saw in that game.
Yeah, I actually tuned in a little bit to that Bradley SIU game last night. But it was kind of just out of curiosity just to see what Bradley was like, to be honest. And what I noticed, and obviously this is an SIU sports podcast, so we won't go too much into Bradley, but they're a highly efficiently defensive team. Mm-hmm. And they had Xavier Johnson really in a lot of trouble early on in that game. He got 3 fouls within the first 15 minutes of the game, so that limited his minutes. I have it in my notes here. He had the 4th lowest minutes total that he's had this season, 27 or 28, I believe it was. So he almost fouled out early in that game. But honestly, I don't think that loss really matters. I think all we needed is that 4 seed. That win only could have possibly gotten us the 3 seed in this conference tournament. And I mean, I think the 4 seed, just based off of matchups, how we can move on, I think we can move on easier with the 4 spot in this conference tournament.
Especially because, we've had bad luck against Drake, but you got to remember, we knocked off number 23, Indiana State.
That's very
who's
true.
Number 1 in our conference at home.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think our sports reporter, Brandon Wilcoxon, told me when I went to the Evansville game, he was like, I don't know what the number was, but it was like 7 or 8 of the past 25 or 30 years of Missouri Valley Conference winners have been 4 seeds. 0 have been 3 seeds. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just a crazy stat to think about. So, if the trend continues, if we're a 3 seed, we won't win the conference tournament. But
right.
Those are just some notes, I guess. The Evansville game, I think I have to shout out Scotty Abube in that one. I think he had double-digit points in that one. He's doing a lot of stuff offensively that I wouldn't have been able to give him credit for early on in this season, and he's really, really developed his game over the year. And I mean, he's going to be an X factor into us being able to go far in that tournament race. So yeah, that's me giving some love to Scotty Abube. We'll most likely play Belmont on Friday, and this will be very, very interesting, I think, because we got trampled by them most recently.
Right.
Was that 2 weeks ago, something like that? So very, very interesting matchup there if we end up playing them.
Absolutely, and so then we got another tough game at UNI.
Man.
Dare you?
I did it first.
There's a rule.
My ears
a rule.
listening to this pod.
Yeah, there's a rule against hitting the table in this podcast. Anyways, tough game. Yeah. UNI. I've been a big Bowen Bourne fan this entire
Can't be that right now, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, I've been praising him. They're gonna have to lock him down. I don't remember whether we won or lost. I think we lost to UNI. Yeah.
UNI. Tough game.
So now we're gonna have them for our senior night at home. It's gonna be a great atmosphere, I'm sure. For Saluki's team that has a lot of momentum right now, despite the Bradley loss. How important is it that we close it out, right? If we lose, are we out of the top 4?
Yeah, we are. UNI would take our spot at the very least. Maybe Belmont has a tiebreaker over them. But regardless, it's not us. And given the way that this season's gone, we need every advantage we can get. Now, like JB mentioned, to me, the biggest takeaway from that Bradley game was X not playing as many minutes. Because a couple weeks ago I mentioned that we had some injuries at the time. And towards the end of this season, if we don't end up getting a top 4 seed, it's going to be even more paramount that we get this extra rest for our guys. X taking a little bit of a night off, only shooting 8 total shots, I'm completely fine with that, honestly, because the game was out of hand deep into the second half. Just take him out. No need to stretch him. I love the way Jared Hensley's playing right now. To me, he's been the most improved player of the second half by far. You could argue. I mean, Troy Domingo's playing pretty well too, but Jared Hensley, especially off the bench, having not even started this season because of the double transfer rule, he's been incredible. Had 15 points last night, 5 of 5 from the floor. He's been a menace around the rim too. Again, I'd still like to see him out on the perimeter. I'm going to say this until it actually happens, but yeah, I love the way he's playing, and I have a lot of confidence heading into Sunday's game, and then if we get that win, I'll have a lot of confidence heading into the Valley Tournament.
Absolutely. So this podcast episode will premiere on this Saturday, as we always do, Saturday morning. But that UNI game, for any SIU fans listening, is the very next night on Sunday. So please be sure to pop out to the Banterra Center, show the support. We want that 4 seed. That 4 seed's huge. I mean, we really need that.
Ginormous.
So let's go ahead and move on to women's basketball, who just had 2 straight losses. And at this point, I don't want to be too harsh here, but we can't say it's a surprise, can we, Jakers?
No, it's I'm starting to wonder if maybe the team has lost a little bit of motivation as we get toward the end of the year, and I don't necessarily blame them, because when you're already down so far in the standings, and given the way the roster has fluctuated, they've had a lot of injuries themselves.
Absolutely.
Players leave the team. It's been kind of a mess here in the second half of the season. So, at the very least, if we can get a couple of wins at home against some pretty good teams, probably not likely, but if we can do that, just at least some positivity maybe heading into the conference tournament. I don't really have any great or terrible things to say. I do like watching Takia Nelson and Maddie Sirocco get some more minutes, but other than that, not too much positivity.
Right, and he talks about lack of positivity. Sitting at 3-13 in the Missouri Valley. Joey, is there any chance at an upset?
I think so, but I think we have a chance to win that Thursday game in this tournament. At this point, I don't really know if the rest of the season really matters in a sense, because I feel like we're probably going to keep that 10 spot anyways. We won that Thursday game last year. We just all have to remember that. I still think this team has a lot of potential, assuming Lanaya gets back into her groove. I know, talking about double-doubles so much, it's like she hasn't had a double-double in so long, but, it's only been, 2 weeks. And double-doubles are crazy, to get in women's basketball just in general. So, she's been slowing down lately. I'm assuming she's going to get back into a groove by the conference tournament. But, I guess you never know with this team. It's been a long season. That's in the simplest way to put it. It's been a long season, and it's been nice to see what some of these younger girls have been able to do, given more minutes, and see how they develop next year, I guess.
Absolutely. So once again, they're sitting at 3-13 in the conference, 8-18 overall, but they've got 2. How many? This isn't the last week, is it? It's not the last week.
No, they've got. I believe
that's right.
4 more games left.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but they've got a home stretch here versus Illinois State and versus Bradley. So I think this is kind of where we're going to find out whether this team's going to keep kicking or do more of a rollover. And we can't really blame them.
Is it sort of crazy to think that the women's team was ranked higher in the preseason poll than our men's team was?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
insane.
That is. They were 8th and the men's team was 9th. And, obviously they weren't expected to be a 4 or 5 seed like the men were, but it just goes to show how good of a job Brian Moulds has done, honestly, this year.
Coach of the year in the conference.
He may be coach of the year, and Xavier Johnson, as predicted by me before the season, might be the player of the year.
Okay, so. I don't think either of those happen, though.
What?
Indiana State head coach probably gets it.
Oh, yeah.
And Robbie Avila probably gets
compared to where we were predicted,
right,
for us to finish 4th when we were predicted 9th after losing 2 guys who are killing it at the Big Ten level. Maybe.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not saying,
I think we're second in both
not
of those
likely.
Things. I think they're second in both those things.
I would agree.
I would agree with you there. Yeah. Let's move on to softball, who had a 500 weekend at the Michelle Short Memorial Classic. And so they sit at 7-4. Joey BFC, you've got a lot of notes here on a lot of the players. I want you to just take it and run with it, please.
I do. So I think that
Run, not point with it. Run with it, don't point it out. Get it? Because I always call them points.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
I'm proud of you.
I get it.
I'm really proud of you.
That took me a moment to understand, I guess.
I forgot to wear green today, too, apparently.
Yeah, I guess this is the green pod today.
Yeah.
Loser.
You're not wearing green.
I'm spreading positive vibes, though.
But why do I feel like there's a green tint in there somewhere, though? I don't know.
Are you okay right now?
I might not be okay right now, but softball. I think it was huge to take. We took a win against Purdue, and that was a 2-0 win. And I think this team already had huge expectations, but now we realize, oh man, we really, really, really do got something in Madia Groff. I'll highlight J. Cruz yet again for pointing her out before the season even started, that she's going to be excellent. She's been everything we could have asked for and more so as a freshman newcomer. And I'd like to highlight, I remember last year at this time we had Elliot Stinson and Hannah Hockerman come in as freshmen as well. And there were some questions there, I guess, that I brought up about I believe both of them were coming from being D3 pitchers into literally the D1 starting rotation.
Right.
And there were some questions there, I guess, if they were going to be able to handle it. Madia Groff has handled it, not to say that they handled it terribly, but we had some problems down the stretch, I guess, with both of them in terms of injuries and being just reliable starters in general. Madia Groff seems like she can be a hugely reliable starter as the season goes on. Maddie Eberly, though, she was our ace last season. She's had a rough start to the year. I don't want to make anything of it right now, but it's just something to point out that she hasn't been herself, I guess, these past couple games. And Elizabeth Warwick, we have to talk about her. She had a walk-off, was that against South Dakota State, to win it. She's getting on base at every single game. As far as we can think, that's going to continue going on throughout the season. And then Jackie Liz, again, just like the Maddie Eberly thing, I don't want to call it a slump yet because it's still so early. We're only 11 games in. Right. We still got a long stretch of the year to go.
So much
conference year. But, she hasn't been herself so far. I would love to see an offensive explosion game. All these games that we've won and played, they've all been low scoring within under 5 runs, and 5 runs and under, I should say, just about. And an offensive explosion, if we got like 8 runs, I'd take that. 9 runs for a game, that'd be amazing. That would solve some questions, I guess. What am I trying to say? That would answer some questions that I have, I guess, just about how consistent the offense is going to be this season.
Yep.
Right. And Jay Cruz, it seems like what we thought of the softball team last year and the baseball team this year, outside of the expectations, but in terms of their play style, it seems like they've almost flipped, right?
Yes.
SIU baseball is the one scoring all these runs, right? And last year that was softball.
Yeah.
But now, it seems like softball's been more defensive-minded, no?
Yeah, they absolutely have. I don't know that that's by design, though. I really do think, like JB mentioned, that if I asked Jen Sewell, she'd probably say she'd like to score a few more runs in these games. This past weekend in particular, it seemed like the offense and the pitching/defense wasn't working together at the same time in any of the games. Maybe you could say it was for the Purdue game, but they get 13 runs. And that's just unacceptable, and I think Jen Sewell would tell you that we have to have high expectations at this point, now that we do have everyone healthy, outside of Elliott, of course, but pitching staff is healthy. Lineup is old in some spots, young in others, and I think those young players, particularly those sophomores who were on last year's team, are having a little bit of an adjustment period. Sophomore slump sort of is a real thing, especially when you have as good of a freshman year as they did. But overall, I'm not really worried. I think this is a team that's going to get better and better as the year goes on, no doubt in my mind.
So with that, SIU sits at 5-3, and we play a series against Appalachian State this weekend. It's been a weird year, no? Kind of felt weird about SIU baseball last time, and now it seems, I don't know. I don't have a lack of faith, but I don't know what to make of this team, Jay Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lack of faith necessarily.
Yeah,
but
right?
If this is how we're going to play the rest of the year, I'm not very optimistic for how it's going to go, because the pitching is only going to get better as we enter conference play, and so are the offenses that we go up against. And if we're allowing teams, no disrespect to Butler, but outside of basketball, their athletic department's not really up to par. No. If we allow them to beat us up like we did on Tuesday, then teams like Illinois States and the Missouri States of the world are going to have their day on us. So I guess that's the only concern. Offensively, too, it doesn't seem like we have as many power threats as I thought we were going to. Stephen Loden, obviously, is the main one. He's going to kill it. He's already got 5 homers this season. But we seem like a team that's going to be a little bit more small ball oriented. Maybe some singles, maybe laying down some bunts, just getting guys on the base pass. But none of this matters if we can't fix the pitching. I don't even know what I was about to say there.
Pitch the
whatever. And we have a lot of guys on this team that have made starts before. Jake Combs started Sunday's game against Central Arkansas, and he was out of there pretty quickly. I mean, I would like to think that he will progress and get better, but at what point do you just start to get another guy in there, because you don't really have time to mess around anymore? Conference play is creeping up a lot faster than you realize. We're already in the month of March now. So yeah, it's a lot of confusion for this team for sure.
Joey B, is SIU athletics just the definition of mid?
What the?
I don't know if I'd say that necessarily. That's a hilarious question, I guess. Just the transition, but
well, you think about it. Right?
I think there are a lot of other programs who would die to be us.
Yes,
I agree.
And there's nothing. I want to make it very clear. There's nothing necessarily wrong with being mid, but it seems like we beat everybody worse than us, but we almost never beat anybody better than us. Men's basketball has broken it a couple of times this year, correct? But you think about football, you think about
making
men's
the playoffs
basketball.
in football is not mid.
It's not mid. I'm just saying. We're like, have you seen that thing where it's Jeremy Grant, and they say Jeremy Grant is the Kevin Durant of Tobias Harris's?
I mean, no, I haven't, but that's
like
hilarious. That is hilarious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're like, we can't do it with teams because teams fluctuate.
No.
But we are. If the fans at home who are basketball fans, we are the Kevin Durant of Tobias Harris's. I feel.
Okay, I don't know who Tobias.
We're the best mid can be.
Okay, that's fair.
Would you say that's accurate for this baseball team?
In a magazine of mids, we're on the cover.
Exactly, because you talk about. Because he talks about right. When we hit those Illinois State and Missouri State games, we're gonna be nervous. But I feel like our team is good enough.
Yeah.
To where we're like, we're safe in the conference. We'll finish top 5, I think it's right.
Yeah.
In baseball,
That's the
I feel that
expectation.
confident.
Yeah.
But
I think we're picked 5th in the preseason polls.
Exactly.
For baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll be top 5. But do you think, from what you've seen, are we ascending or are we just plateauing right now?
I'd say we're descending right now.
Oof.
I don't think these pitchers. I mean, I'll just say it. Like, I don't think we have an ace as a pitcher right now. I mean, Jake Combs is probably our best pitcher, and yet he's been beat up really badly this year. It has not been good on the pitching front, at least for starters. Until we figure out who our ace is going to be, I'm going to say we're descending because, I mean, I think one of the games we had to do like a whole bullpen game. Everybody got like an inning and 2/3 or something like that, maybe two innings. And I think part of the reason is because we haven't been able to figure out a reliable pitching rotation right now. Some names, I guess, I mentioned Jake Combs, but I hope I'm saying his name right. Is it Alec Nugget? Nugget.
Yeah,
it's spelled with an I.
Flip the vowels.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the gist here that I'm trying to make is just that until we find a reliable ace and a couple like deep starters that can just go a couple innings, because that's just not a way to play baseball. We can't just expect to score double-digit runs every game and try to win that. Like, that's just not going to work. And we also don't have the type of power, I think, to be consistent with getting double-digit runs every single game. So I guess, like, I'm literally asking, like, is this just gonna be how every game is gonna go this year? And not to mention, like, I think all those games this week were winnable. We had a lead blown against Central Arkansas that was, I think it was like a 5-run lead blown, and then we also came back and made one of those games interesting. Like, all those games were winnable at one point. It just didn't go our way, I guess. So maybe it's not as bad as what I'm trying to talk about, I guess, with pitching wise, but I don't know. I guess I just don't know what to make of this team quite yet.
Exactly. So that's it for us for Dogs of the Vet, and now me and Jay Cruz have to talk a little b-ball with you. Oh, I'm closing out, but he shot it over me.
Web.
Jay Cruz.
Cole Daly.
We're back. It's heating up. By the next pod, it'll be March.
Oh.
Isn't that fun?
When people are watching this, it'll be March.
Exactly.
This is March.
Oh, true. Yeah, because today is the leap day or whatever.
In the words of John Rothstein, this is March.
this is March. On that note, I thought for my NBA segment, March is just too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Right? It's basically a celebration of basketball fans.
Yeah.
First of all, thoughts on expanding the tournament?
No. I honestly would rather it just be 64 teams. I don't like the play-in.
100% agree.
I like it from
agree.
like, okay, you get a little taste of it early, but it really doesn't matter in the end.
Oh, you don't even like the 16 versus 16, 11 versus 11?
No, absolutely not. And
Really?
I also think, speaking of my guy John Rothstein, shout out to him, he has a take that I think is perfect in that if you win your conference, you should not have to play in a play-in game.
I agree with that.
Because there are these, I know
with
it's 16 seeds that have to do it, but sometimes I think it was like not Georgetown, but there was a 12 seed I think that won their conference tournament, made like a deep run as a low seed, and they ended up having to play in a play-in game. Like that's bad.
I completely
really,
agree
really
with
bad.
you. I think that's what's upset me. They'll have like St. Bonaventure be like 11, and they have to play UCLA.
Right.
I wholeheartedly agree. I actually like the play-in. I think it's fun, but on that specific point, I do feel like it's
so we can have a play-in, but make it be between the teams that like were firmly on the bubble and like barely
on the edge
and like barely get the chance. Yeah.
Exactly. Just make it every 12 or 11 seed. Let's stop with the 16.
I would agree. Make it
just make it because then I actually care about all the games.
Yes.
Like I don't really care about when Norfolk State plays Virginia Wilmington.
No.
Central.
Yeah.
Of the Catholic, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Sisters of the Poor. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not with that. But while we're in March, it's also the start, Jay Cruz, of NBA draft season. And the fans at home know that this guy is a big NBA draft guy. I assess each of the players.
Do we have to do this now?
Huh?
The season's not even over yet.
I know, but I just want... This isn't my whatever, but I'm doing this to say, hey, guys, I was right.
Oh, okay.
Okay? I want to let the people know
You're getting
early.
way out ahead of it.
I want the people to know early how much I know ball. Okay? That's what I want right now. So, Jay Cruz, I'll give you the option.
Okay.
Who do you want me to start with? The people that I'm buying, people that I'm holding, or people that I'm selling? Which one would you like me to start?
Let's start positive. Positive vibes today.
Okay.
Let's start there. We'll go down.
I like that.
But
Show the camera that. Your camera,
Viva. Shout out Barstool.
He's got the positive vibes.
I've had this for a few
shirt.
years. Is the white balance okay? Is this like super bright? Okay, sweet.
Probably. So I hate to ruin your positive vibes, Jay Cruz, but there is almost nobody I'm buying in this year's class.
Dang, okay.
I am not a fan of this year's NBA draft class. I think there's I'm going to go 9 players. 9 to 7 players in this draft class who have an NBA career that lasts 10 years.
9 to 7.
That last 10 years.
Okay.
I am not a believer in this year's class. I think there is 0 superstars. I'll tell you that much. There is no guy. There's no Paolo Bancheros. There's no Victor Wembanyama's. There's not even a Franz Wagner in here. Okay.
Wow.
These are just like there's no Josh Giddey's. I think there's a Michael Porter Jr. and I can't wait to talk about him. But that's about as high as this ceiling gets. So let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you the guys that I actually do like. I think the best player in this class, and the guy who has the most potential to be a star, is Cody Williams. Colorado Buffalo, small forward.
Yep.
Younger brother of NBA star Jalen Williams.
Like that.
I think Cody Williams, right? When your brother's an NBA player and you guys practice against each other all the time, you're bound to be pretty good. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
He's very, very fluid. He's got really, really good ball skills, He can dribble really, really well. He's got a decent jump shot. Just something about those Williams boys, right? But they are excellent drivers, man. Like they just, whatever it is, they know how to perfectly angle their body and create space. I'm a big fan of the Williams family. Let's move on. These are 2 guys I'm buying, but if they don't pan out, you can't hold it against me. I think so. I like a lot of what I see. I'm going to say Zach Edey. I think Zach Edey is a guy that can come in and can play immediately. I wouldn't say that last year, but he has made so many improvements in regards to his feet quickness, all the stuff. He is one of the few players that the 5th year, the COVID year of eligibility that he gained is really going to benefit him. Because if he left and got drafted last year, he gets he's not fast enough. He's immediately not ready for the NBA level. But him developing and staying at college, he's been excellent. He's probably going to win Naismith Player of the Year again. I think he's really, really good. And then Dalton Knecht, another older guy. It's weird to say because he's a Northern Colorado guy, but he's been doing it against SEC players, which I think undoubtedly have the best athletes in the country. And he had 39 points against Auburn the other night. I mean, this is a guy who just can score the basketball. He's got a good jump shot, consistent jump shot, and he also, can attack the rim hard. He's a big body. I mean, he's huge. 6'9", muscular. I really, really like him. I think he would best fit on I would say Heat, but they probably won't draft him after having Jaime Jaquez. Yeah. But, the right team with Dalton Knecht, that pans out.
I agree.
Any thoughts on those players that I just gave to you?
The Edie, I guess, is the surprising one. I've been knowing about Cody Williams and Dalton Knecht. Edie, I'm gonna refer to this guy. You have Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, they're your dudes, right?
They're my guys.
Take a lot of your takes from them. Well, I take a lot of my basketball takes from a singular podcast I listened to with Jeff Van Gundy on it. And Jeff Van Gundy was on a podcast with Stan, his brother, who was, of course, the coach of the Detroit Pistons at one point. Mm-hmm. And he said his biggest regret of his career is not getting a guy like Boban Marjanovic more minutes because they're so big that they're unstoppable on the offensive end. Because most guys, if you get them in a mismatch, all they can do is foul. And then they're going to have to shoot free throws. But obviously, Boban wasn't a great free throw shooter. Zach Edey is a pretty good free throw shooter.
He's good, yeah.
He could be really good in the NBA if he bulks up a little bit more. Obviously, with guys like
that. He's big already.
He's already pretty big, but he can be unstoppable if he bulks up a little bit more even. And if he develops a little bit of a mid-range game too,
that's what it's going to need.
He could be lethal, and I hate to do the Yao Ming comparison for obvious reasons. But in terms of play style, they are very, very similar, especially if he can get that mid-range jumper, because Yao had an incredible mid-range jumper, and that's what made him so unstoppable.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about, the league had about 6 or 7 years there in the past where it switched from being very big-centric to guard-centric, right? Yes. So the guys like Rudy Gobert, they get exposed. But now, who's the face of the league right now? Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. Victor Wembanyama's coming up, 7'5". Yeah. Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's trending back to the bigs. And
Andre Drummond.
It's become
26 rebounds. Cavs.
We had to talk before the show about how Andre Drummond is ruining the Bulls tanking
because he's actually trying. Because he's actually playing well.
I hate it. Here's what I'm gonna say. I just think having a big man is gonna become important again, right? You know how teams would just bring 7-footers on their team who didn't even know how to play basketball just because they had to defend Shaq. I think that's what they're going to start doing with guys like Nikola Jokic and stuff, and that kind of stuff. Let's go on to my hold. I don't really know. This one's more of a buy. I'm buying more than I'm selling,
right?
But because of that, I'm just not sure. Matas Buzelis. He was projected as the number one player when he came out of high school. He went to Brewster Academy for a long while. Very, very skinny guy. Super skinny. I think his nickname was the praying mantis or something like that because his name's Matas, and it was close enough, you know. I think he's got a good shot, solid shot. He's got a good handle. He's basically like a point guard that's 6'8", 6'9". But the only problem is he's skinny. He gets bumped easy, and he just something about it. He moves weird.
Yeah.
Which sometimes in the NBA can be an advantage, right? With the herky jerky kind of stuff. Yeah. You think about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he does this herky jerky Hezzy and the players. I remember Derrick Rose was like that, where you were just how does he move from that place to the other? Matas, he's good, but I'm not counting on him getting minutes. You know, he's almost like a Grady Dick in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's a right team kind of situation. Next one is the projected number 2 prospect on the board. I hope I'm saying this correct. He's a French guy. Zachary Rissacher?
Sure.
I think it's Zachary Rissacher.
Yeah, totally.
He's the Michael Porter Jr. I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
He's a shooter, European guy. If for those of you, another reason why this draft isn't going to be very fun for a lot of the fans at home, it's going to be a lot of European guys, specifically French guys, which we need to talk about that at a later pod. France is on the come up, right?
Yeah,
you got Victor Wembanyama, Tony Parker's been doing a lot for them over there, and I think it's been huge. A country that it's not small, but a country that small comparatively, they're putting out a lot of really good prospects.
Yeah, they are.
And then I don't want to spend too much time on him because, once again, but just know he's a shooter. But I don't know if he's anything more than that. And I think that him at the second pick, how do you feel about just getting Michael Porter Jr. at the second pick in the draft?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Next one is Reed Shepherd. He's just so small.
Yeah.
He's little. He's got a great shot form, really good passer. And there's something about him, too, where he moves so quick.
Yeah.
Like,
he knifed through that lane the other night against Mississippi State.
I mean, really, I don't know if I've, seen, I don't mean to be like a white boy usually doesn't, move like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he has this, gliding motion.
Yes.
Across the floor. So, I think Reed's got a lot of potential, and I think I'd pick him anywhere from maybe 7 to 14. But on defense, he's going to get hunted like crazy, and he doesn't have Tyler Hero's size. Tyler Hero's a healthy 6'5",
Yeah.
He's big. Reed's not that. What's he, 6'2"? Maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Right. So that's my only thing that I worry about with Reed Shepherd. Let's just keep talking about Kentucky, guys. Actually, no, before I do that, Jay Cruz, please. Any additional thoughts?
No, I don't have any additional thoughts there. I don't know too much about Buzelis or Risacher. So yeah, and I like the way Reed Shepherd's playing this year. I think he could be a guy that
he's kind of their glue guy for Kentucky.
He's sort of their glue guy. He could be a guy that's successful in the NBA, but I do worry about the size at the end of the day.
And so that is exactly why we get to our sell. Now listen,
I disagree with you on this first one.
Rob Dillingham.
See, no, I love
was
Rob.
a guy that I didn't have. I had before the season. I was second round. He's like Cam Thomas to me. He took too many.
It's not gonna happen.
Took too many dumb shots. Blah 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 blah. Can you hear me out, Jay Cruz? Don't wait for podcasts for a reason to talk things out.
Keep going, bro.
Right. So beginning of the season, second round. Okay. He's played phenomenal. He's one of the best scorers. I was like, it's not going to work in college. It's been working in college.
Yeah.
It's really been working in college. He's quick. He's got an excellent handle. He's bouncy, right? He can shoot it from just about anywhere. It doesn't matter if his feet are set, anything. And he's honestly better on defense than he would have thought, a little bit. And that's exactly why, while his stock is as high as it can possibly get, I'm going to sell.
Yeah, you're wrong.
And I'm going to make money because...
You're going to make money?
Yeah, I made money on him.
Oh, right.
I bought him while he was in the second round. Yeah. And now his stock is way up here.
Right.
I just don't think it's an NBA product. Mm-hmm. Not yet. Listen, now if you told me he pans out in the NBA, I honestly agree with you, right? I think he's got a lot of NBA talent, and I'm not taking that away from him. But this thing that he has where he's going to hold the ball and do this, as much as he does, I'm worried about it. Or at least in the new phase of the NBA, right? Because if this was 10 years ago, I'd feel a lot better. But now in the NBA, everybody's talented, and everybody needs the ball, and it's constant three-point shots, switching the ball around. It's a lot of catch and shoot, too, and that's not Dillingham. Dillingham is dribble, step back, pull up. You know what I mean? So it's going to be about the team he lands on. If you put him on the Rockets, bad. That would be worst case. Well, with Ime Udoka, maybe not. But you put him on, he's either, he can either become Kyrie Irving, but he might be Bones Highland.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with Rob Dillingham. That's why I'm selling right now, not because I don't think he's good. I think he is worthy of a top 10 pick in this draft.
Yeah.
The potential is there. But I'm going to sell while he's high.
Yeah. Because
with the size and how the game is played today, I don't know if it fits with Dillingham. Next, we're going to go to a Serbian this time. I don't spend too much time on him. Nikola Topic? We got another Nikola, guys, in case you definitely aren't sick of Nikolas in the NBA yet. He's a 6'6" guy. His jumper is broken. He can't shoot. Usually the European guys are better at improving their jump shots before they get to the league. So, but I don't know. People talk about him because he's a big guard, right? He's got a good handle. But when I think of guys, I think of the last guy who came out, right? Lacked some athleticism. You didn't really know how good he was going to be because of that. But he was a big body, all that kind of stuff. I think of Josh Giddey. But when I watched Josh Giddey film, there was stuff where I was like, oh, he's seeing stuff that other guys don't see. Like, you notice that in guys like Tyrese Halliburton coming out of college, right? Josh Giddey. He sees the game in a different way in which players he's playing with don't get it. And I think that's the idea behind Topic, but I don't really think he's got it. After watching some film on him, he makes good passes, and I think he'll be a solid backup. But his jump shot is just, he makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a Thompson twin that instead of having 99 overall athleticism, it was a 30.
30.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, how do you feel about it then? And then lastly, and I'm sure Jay Cruz has highlighted it,
Yeah.
we need to talk about Kyle Filipowski,
Yeah.
who the fact that he's being mocked as a lottery pick stuns me. While I see Jared McCain be 26,
I agree with that.
and I see Kyle Filipowski at 13, I go, does anybody know anything anymore? Does anybody understand it?
No.
So, Jay Cruz, do you want to take it from here? Because you highly emphasize this note.
No. I want to wait till later in the show to talk about Kyle Filipowski for obvious reasons. But in terms of an NBA prospect, I totally agree with you.
His jump shot, when he shoots it, never looks like it's going in.
No.
He has bad body language.
Looks like he lacks confidence.
Which
he should.
He will.
There's no reason for him to lack confidence.
He will lose confidence early in a game.
Yeah.
His defense is nothing special. I am not there with Kyle Filipowski. I never have been. I hope he leaves for the draft. I do. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
I hope he leaves.
He's gone.
He would clog everything up if he stayed.
With our luck, he'll end up on the Bulls somehow.
Oh, don't. Jay Cruz, why did you put that out in the world? That's definitely what's going to happen. Nevertheless, as a Duke fan, if you're a lottery team, don't take Kyle Filipowski. Don't do that to yourself. Don't. Just don't.
He's the anti-evil Duke white guy. Like J.J. Redick, overly confident.
Yeah.
Fill in another Duke white guy. I can't think of any else.
Grayson Allen,
overly confident.
right.
Butthole.
Love them both.
Yeah.
No, Flip.
Doesn't have it.
Unlikable. I really want to talk about it now. Can we talk about it now, please?
No, we're waiting.
Fine.
We're waiting.
Tell me about the teams that you're buying and holding and selling.
3 fantastic games this weekend. Again, college basketball delivers, but it especially delivers in this month of March. Guys, you realize 17 days from now, in my hands, in your hands, in JB's hands, we will be holding a bracket.
I can't wait.
I mean, I don't think I've smiled this big in like months.
Right.
I'm just so excited.
We only
So
have 2 weeks
excited.
away.
And we've got some good games this weekend, too. Nice little appetizer before the entree of conference tournaments. Missouri Valley Conference starts next weekend. Kansas, number 7, selling. Done. They suck. They cannot win. They're not even competitive on the road right now. And I'm taking them to lose this weekend. I don't normally make predictions. To Baylor, and I do want to give a shout-out to the Bears. I watched most of their game against Houston on Saturday morning. I was very, very impressed with them. Houston, to me, is a level above everyone else in college basketball right now. But Baylor held with them. Jacoby Walters.
Can we talk? Okay, I
Go
want
ahead
to
and talk about him.
because Jacoby Walter is on my buy list.
But
him and Cody Williams are both like 6'7" to 6'9" forwards who have very high potential, and I wanted to mix it up a little bit.
Fair enough.
But Jacoby Walter, buy. I love Jacoby Walter. He's a great jumper.
He's really, really good. This Baylor team can score, but like many teams in college basketball this season, they don't play too much defense. But they did hold their own against Houston the other day, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Can you tell me about their center? I've been hearing a lot about, and he's predicting the mock 2 to go in the lottery. Yves Missy, do you know anything about him?
I don't really remember.
He's the Baylor center.
Yeah, I know. I just don't remember. Honestly, I mean, I haven't really watched too much Baylor. I
Fine.
don't really remember him being too involved in that game.
Right.
No, he played 33 minutes, just 105 from the floor. He didn't really stick out to me.
I've heard he's more of a defensive anchor, but
yeah, he did have a couple of blocks, but in that game was really about the guards for me. It was Jacoby Walter. It was which, by the way, You know that guy Jonathan Chamachachua?
Mm-hmm.
He's been on the team for 6 years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was on the national championship team. Jalen Bridges as well, though. He's really, really, really good. Another really long guy who had a really big game against Houston. He had 17 points, 13 rebounds.
All right, sounds good. Yeah.
He is. He's 6'9". He's big and long. Okay? Get your mind out of the gutter, bro.
Anyways, we got Marquette at Creighton. Can you tell me about
Marquette at Creighton? I'm holding on both of these teams, and I don't really want to hold Marquette because I want to sell them. I think I probably have sold them at some point on this podcast. Yeah. But
I'm rooting for Marquette.
They continue to win, and I can't help myself.
I'm so God. This has been. I know.
Freaking RKO'd the table.
I know. I love Marquette, as a team, and I'm rooting for Shaka Smart because he literally can never get to that next level.
Yeah,
you almost want him to.
They have won 11 out of their last 12 games, and their only loss came on the road at UConn, where UConn destroyed them. But they're beating everybody else, and you have to give them some sort of credit for doing that. But this weekend, they're going on the road at Creighton. Familiar faces at Creighton: Trey Alexander, Baylor Shireman, Ryan Kalkbrenner. It's going to be a fantastic game.
It will.
From the Marquette thing too is just so weird because Cam Jones is playing incredible lately. He's averaging, I think, almost 30 points a game over his last 3 or 4. Tyler Kolek, though, might be one of the more polarizing players in the entire country. I see people literally getting into screaming matches online about Tyler Kolek. The people who like him love him, and the people who don't like him hate him. I'm kind of in the middle. This game, though, might change the way I think about him. I'll be interested to see what the Creighton crowd has in store for one Tyler Kolek.
Have you seen the barbecue chicken clip?
Yes.
I love that clip.
Barbecue chicken.
That made me instantly a fan of Tyler Kolek.
I'm sure you.
I already liked him. You know who my favorite players in that team though? Another one I'm buying before the NBA draft cycle. That center.
Oh, so Iguodaro.
That guy would literally, if you put him on the Warriors right now, they could release Draymond Green tomorrow.
Yeah. For that guy.
They could he is a great defensive guy.
Yeah.
And a super underrated thing in basketball, I don't mean to nerd out too much, is after you set a pick and you get the ball right in the mid-post, your mid-post passing ability is so incredibly important and can change the trajectory of your program. Yeah. He's great at it. He will catch it and know exactly where he's going with the ball before he even has his head turned. He knows exactly, got to swing to the opposite corner. I need to pass it this way. I'm huge. One of my favorite players in the country in college basketball right now is Iguodaro.
I'm going to give you two names that used to do that really, really well when they were in college, okay? Right. 2 Big Ten guys.
Please.
Travion Williams at Purdue.
Yes.
He used to do that like it was nobody's business.
I love Travion Williams.
Can't believe him and Edey didn't go further in the tournament, which is freaking crazy to think about. Him and then Caleb Wesson at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. They were both really, really good at that, and they were the anchors of their team for a long time just because of their ability to do that. And as a center, you may not always get those big assist numbers, but a center's ability, like you were just saying, to facilitate all across the floor from that mid-post position is huge. So if Iguodaro is a guy that can do that, Marquette's going to have a good run in the tournament. But we'll see. This game against Creighton, that's probably going to be the best game of the weekend.
I'd say so, easily, yeah.
However, last game of the week, one of my, now only 2 teams. I did disown Michigan State this week, because they lost to Ohio State on Sunday. Shout out Dale Bonner for hitting that buzzer beater 3. That was pretty freaking incredible. But done with Michigan State.
Awful.
They stink.
What did I tell you?
They
before the
stink.
season?
No, they're done.
What did I tell you?
You were right, 100%. They were ranked.
Every time they have expectations, they suck, and every time they don't, they're making it to the Final Four, baby.
They stink. They lost to Ohio State. I know we're playing better without Chris Holtman now, but that's still no excuse. We were without Jamison Battle, our best player. Mm-hmm. Michigan State stinks. But I'm still holding on to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And only if, they go on the road this weekend to St. Mary's, who is one of the more underrated teams in the country, by the way.
Totally.
Aiden Mahaney, year number 2. He's incredible. I'm sure you're a big fan of his, as am I. If Gonzaga goes on the road this week and beats St. Mary's, I'm all the way in. I mean, I already have them penciled into my Sweet 16, regardless, depending on who they play. It's going to be really awkward if they've matched up against Auburn. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, but
really?
which is very possible, by the way.
Yeah, really.
But this weekend will go a long way in determining Gonzaga's, I guess, their perception around the country. I think even if they lose, like maybe a 1 or 2 point game, I think people will be pretty impressed There will be some Gonzaga haters who won't because, like, well, you can't lose St. Mary's. But St. Mary's is good, right? They were a 5 seed last year.
No, yeah.
St. Mary's is a good team. They have a really nice system.
The only problem is Gonzaga has super bad luck going into.
They do, but give me Ryan Nembhard, give me Hickman, give me Anton Watson. I like those 3 guys as a nice little core.
Does Dusty Stromer play very much?
A little bit,
He's
yeah.
a freshman guy.
A little bit, yeah.
Skinny.
I know he was pretty highly touted.
I think he played with Jared McCain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in high school.
Which one is a better singer?
Well, I'm 2 days into college.
Yeah, okay. We're doing
that's
that.
Jared McCain.
Anyway, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. Cannot wait to preview some conference tournaments on next week's podcast. I'm going to have remember how last year I had a list just picking random winners, even conferences I don't know anything about. I'm going to have that for you all next week. I cannot wait to get into it.
I can't wait.
Let's go.
Alrighty, let's bring Joey back onto the table, folks, so that we can tell you all what we learned this week. Alrighty, folks, we are all back.
I'm here.
That we are.
I'm here.
Joey Bernard's here. Joey Bernard, since you're back, how about you tell us what you learned?
Yeah.
Because I really like this. You've got written down.
I do like this. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff on social media. It has gone viral, what we're about to do here. So I'm not sure if both of you have already seen this. But regardless, I still think it's very interesting. And I have 2 things. One is I found out this week, I kind of realized what I think my favorite sports quote ever is. And I don't even know if you want to call it a quote because it's kind of like funny to me. It's funnier than anything else to me. Pete Rose, famous bowler, he's the guy who said, "Who do you think you are? I am."
You mean Pete Weber, not Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose was the
oh my
baseball
gosh,
player.
yeah,
Baseball player.
that's totally right. Yep, duh.
Okay.
Pete Weber. Excuse me,
Weber.
I'm getting
Yes.
my Pete's mixed up. Pete Weber, the famous
Goat.
bowler.
Goat.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Who do you think you are? I am.
First, that line is already so hard anyways.
is.
Like, I love it. But on Big Cat's little podcast that he had this week, he had Pete Weber on. And he explained this
Little
week.
podcast. We got the biggest one in the
Yeah.
country. We're the best sports
Little
podcast.
podcast.
We got the best sports podcast, guys.
Pete Weber explained that quote was actually directed to a 15-year-old kid in the stands.
Nice.
Because he was moving, like, before and during his final bowl for the championship. I don't even know what you call the bowling championship, but his final bowl, he got a strike, and then he did the "Who do you think you are? I am," and he pointed directly at the kid. I think that goes so hard anyways before directing it at the kid, and I just think it's hilarious.
It's easily my
kids.
favorite sports quote.
F them kids.
F them kids.
And he also even said it wasn't even on purpose. He was trying to say something else, but that's just how it came out.
Well, I
to
think,
be, and
yeah,
still-
that kind of checks out because it doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't make sense
at
grammatically.
all. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but it does.
Right,
But
right.
I don't know. Anyways, and the other thing might be a little bit more long-winded because it's a little game similar to what Jay Cruz did last week for his.
I don't mean to spoil the game. I know who this is.
You do know who it is?
Mhm.
Okay.
I saw.
Well,
I
I
saw
don't
it.
know,
I saw it.
Okay,
too.
well then
saw it too.
I think this would be fun for Jay Cruz.
Okay.
So this is the NFLPA Awards Player Association. This is grading NFL teams based off of basically just the other categories, everything that has to do with everything else on the team that's not player oriented. What who they are as people. It's the staff members, basically, of the team, and they divide them up in categories, and the players get to grade each category.
Yeah.
And I thought this result was very, very interesting from it. So this is the 29th overall grade. I'll put it up here, probably here on the podcast or the video if you're watching.
Oh my gosh! It
Oh my
literally
gosh,
appeared.
it's here. So the
Joey, how did you do that? Sorry.
The 29th overall graded team out of 32 teams. This is treatment of families. They got a B. They're tied for 12th. Food service and nutrition, D+, tied for 18th. Weight room, C+, tied for 22nd. Strength coaches, A-, tied for 17th.
Sounds pretty good so far.
Pretty good so far. Training room, D+, tied for 24th. Training staff, D-, 32nd. Last in the league for training staff. Locker room, D-, tied for 28th. And team travel, tied for 28th. Now, there's varying different reasons for these grades, but this is what the players said themselves. Jay Cruz, since Cole Daly already knows the answer, I want to pose the question. Now we aren't insiders of NFL teams, so we don't really have like an insight.
Yeah.
But who do you think this team is?
Can I ask one question before I try to guess? Is this like a sort of a surprise?
I think it's absolutely a surprise.
Okay.
Sure.
Is this a fan of one of our teams?
No.
Or is this a team that we're a fan of?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not.
It's not the Commanders.
They're actually relatively hated. I'd go that far.
It's not the
not now, but they were.
It's not the Commanders because I know the Commanders are probably. I think they're last. The first guess I had was the Jaguars. Not the Jaguars.
It's not the Jaguars.
Because their stadium I've heard is not that great, and it's just their overall environment. Jacksonville's kind of not a great city. Anyway, okay. Team that was hated. Not the Patriots.
No.
No. Okay. Not the Cardinals.
What?
Nobody hated the Cardinals.
No, it's not.
This isn't the Patriots?
No.
Oh, so they
Oh,
don't
I
know
saw
who it is
that.
then.
I saw the Patriots
Okay.
one.
So well, you can guess too
This
now.
is not the Patriots.
Oh, I thought this was the Patriots.
This is not the Patriots.
Oh, this is a different. Okay.
Who has
completely
good
different
strength
one.
and conditioning, but nothing else? Is this a good team?
Oh, absolutely.
Now?
Absolutely.
San Francisco. No.
Okay,
Ravens.
this is something that's not. It's not the Ravens. It's something that's not on here. Their coach was graded an A.
Oh, that would have been helpful. Not Kansas City.
It's Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh my
It's the
gosh.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, you mean they were hated? They're hated even more now than ever.
Well, I was the one who said it.
You said that.
I was like, they're not.
Oh, because
really that.
that's when
Yeah.
you thought it was the Patriots.
I mean,
okay.
they're hated,
They're very
but they're
much hated.
loved by casuals. You know, in a sense of hated, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but yes,
I understand.
you could call them hated.
I understand.
I just thought this was incredibly interesting.
Wow.
There was also something that came out this week about how they were going to renovate their practice facility, something like that, this year, but they actually went too far into the playoffs and thought now at this point they don't have time to renovate it this year. So given that they were using it up until the Super Bowl practically.
That's wild.
So they're going to try to do it next year, given they don't go to the Super Bowl, I guess. Or I don't really know how that's going to work. I'm not in
It's
the
crazy their
specifics
team
of it.
success is holding back.
Yeah.
The renovations.
Guys, we're too good.
Yeah,
You're
they're too good, apparently. So I think this is incredibly interesting. And one might say Patrick Mahomes is doing this in despite of this as well. All this D+ rankings with staff, training room, training staff, locker room, whatever it is on here that apparently the players are not pleased with.
Wow.
All right, I'll go ahead and go next because I'm going to keep it on the NFL circuit on a more positive note, relatively. This NFL draft is going to be so fun. I'm a huge draft guy, and I don't know if I've said it yet, but I think we're going to have a multitude of quarterbacks that I feel are franchise guys. Specifically, my favorites are Caleb Williams, obviously. I like Drake May, but I don't know about Drake May, really. He's like either Josh Allen or Chad Henne. I kind of can't really figure it out. And then I'm a big Michael Penix guy.
Yeah.
I've made that known. I'm a big Michael Penix guy. I think he's got a shot. But no, I think every position group that's entertaining and fun in the NFL, the draft is going to be awesome for it.
Oh, yeah.
Quarterback, wide receiver, defensive ends, it's a stacked class. Be sure to tune in because then you get to tell your buddies, hey, I knew he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really all I have to say. Jay Cruz, I can't wait to talk about this one with you.
Well, I just wanted to say something about your point here. People out there who are NFL draft fans, okay? I'm very sensitive to the NFL draft right now for obvious reasons, right? Do not listen to anybody say anything about anything unless they are a college football fan, okay? There's so many draft geeks out there.
True.
Who are not college football fans.
True. No.
Who try to do what he does and rank people, but the difference is he actually watches football.
Yeah.
Actually watches college football. And that's who leads the think tank of the NFL draft is these draft geeks online who don't even watch football, especially not college football. And they just come up with these rankings and all these narratives or whatever. Anyway.
Great point.
And sometimes
Great point.
it actually impacts the draft.
Yeah, it does.
and we thought it was going to do it last year
With Will Levis.
With Will Levis and has C.J. Stroud in that test or whatever. Because some people just have weirdly huge amounts of power, and they just push narratives, and that literally affects things. Like everybody thought on draft night Will Levis was going to go in the top 10, at maybe even number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, don't listen to anybody unless they actually watch college football. Talk about players, okay?
Good note.
Now, talking about what players might fit on certain teams, that's a different story. But in terms of just overall skill, if they don't watch college football, don't listen to them. Now, my final point. I told you not to talk about Kyle Filipowski earlier because, unfortunately, we had to memorialize him this weekend.
Can you just read what you wrote down?
Cameron, I'll get there. Hold on.
Yeah.
We had to memorialize him
this
this weekend after he was brutally injured during Wake Forest's win over Duke. His mom and dad were there crying at the funeral. I was at the funeral. But weirdly, he still played in Wednesday night's game against Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, because he got brushed by a Wake Forest, which he did to Caitlin Clark, he definitely extended his arms. He initiated the contact. Let's not get it twisted.
I'm not sure about that.
People are trying to ban court storming. No, that's the one thing that college basketball and football really have that
court
that other
storming
sports don't.
Needs to be a thing. If we ever get rid of court storming, we are doing the wrong thing as sports fans.
And of course,
I think that mostly. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, you're right.
I was interrupting you.
No.
I was interrupting you.
He said it real sassy. The point, my whole point is, we have non-sports fans tweeting and going, I can't believe this would happen.
Yeah.
You suck. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. This is something I am passionate about. We need court storming. I hate that we can't do it at SIU games. All because that Murray State one.
Yeah.
Last year, which that one was pretty wild. But,
that was pretty wild.
But I'm such a big fan of court storming, and it sucks that my team was the one that was. Can you just?
Your team is the one initiating this.
I know.
Your
that's what I'm
coach, John Shire, was the most likable Duke figure of all time until this past Saturday.
I know.
He put on his Coach K hat and he said a very Coach K line like,
No,
when are we going to ban court storming?
No.
When are
Can
we
you just read it?
So, because of this, I said Cameron Crazies, more like Cameron Babies. And Kyle Filipowski, his ankle hurts so bad.
Here's what it is.
He
Kyle
came back
Filipowski,
4 days later and I think they won. They won and had a pretty good game against an awful Louisville team.
I was going to say, they played Louisville.
But they won pretty easily. He played. He was fine.
No, he was absolutely fine. He bumped knees with a guy. And because he had bad body language, they lost, and he's starts going,
Shout out to your boy Jared McCain, who ran off the court.
Get off the court
like a normal person.
Like you play at Duke. You play at Duke. You are at Wake Forest. You have to understand, if you lose this game, get off the court. Yeah. Like, it is on the players. The players do not get excused for having bad body language or whatever. You have to have the wherewithal. To me, I look at the majority of the Wake Forest fans who are happy, who come to storm the court, have a good time. I don't give two craps about one player who bumped a knee. I don't care. It would be a bad thing for the sport to ban it. It's fun because we are still considering NCAA amateur. A lot of the fun has been taken out of NCAA sports because of NIL and transfer and all this stuff. As a fan, let me be a part of the school that I attend.
Dang right.
Woo! This has been episode 21 of the Inside Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we drop our episodes. And then if you are listening to this on Spotify, please be sure to follow us and also like the episode as well. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.